So Monday morning, our guest showed up from Texas. Uncle Jimmy Dale himself, in the flesh. Unfortunately, Jimmy didn't bring any of that Texas weather here with him. It's pretty dreary, cold, and windy today. After that 15-hour drive, I don't know whether Magic Johnson or Jimmy looked worse. Anyway, first thing in the morning, we went out to the shop, and Rob was out there finishing up putting a Turbo 350 in his G-body. The plan is, once Rob gets done on the lift, we're going to bring Jimmy's Mustang in, pull the engine out of it, and take it up to Bob's to have the engine fixed. While Jeremy, Kenny, and Rob are fixing up this transmission crossmember for Rob's car, I had Jimmy come in and try to figure out what in the heck went wrong with my Facebook on my computer. Somehow Vicky switched it to Portuguese, and after Jimmy figured out how to fix it, of course he had to test my Facebook. While the guys were finishing up on Rob's car, me and Jimmy went down to the gas station to get some pizza for lunch for everybody. And by the time we got back, it was time to pull the Mustang in and get started pulling the engine out of it. Now Jimmy needs help with his Mustang, but he also needs help shipping his merch out. He's like 300 orders behind and hasn't shipped the first one out yet. So Vicky and Allison plan on helping him with that once we get the engine out of the Mustang and get it up to Uncle Bob's. Based on what we're seeing, it's definitely hurt.
I already know what that is. Lack of maintenance.
Jimmy's Mustang's powered by a 427 cubic inch small block Chevy. It's a standard bore 400 block with a 4-inch stroke crank. So I had Bob order in a set of 30 over pistons to clean up the cylinder walls and bump the compression from 11-to-1 to about 13-to-1. And while the engine's apart, we're also going to take a look at the camshaft, the valve springs, lifters, and see if there's anything we can do to up the performance of the engine, as Jimmy says that the engine doesn't seem to want to rev above 6,500 RPM. I also want to turn Kenny Powers loose on getting the Mustang cleaned up while me and Jimmy are on our way up to Uncle Bob's to drop the engine off. Now, when I asked Bob if he could help us with this engine, he only had one request. He wanted one of those small tire gangster chains. Uncle Bob.
It's a pleasure, sir. No. From all the way from Texas.
Oh, there it is. Now wait, you got to make him fix it first.
Yeah, woo!
Look at that, Uncle
Didn't
Bob.
even ask, sir.
Uncle Bob didn't even have to go to Texas.
Didn't even have to go to Texas.
Texas
Came to me.
That's right.
I appreciate it.
Boy, did we bring you a mess of problems.
I'm used to that.
Hey,
I help you, remember?
oh, that's right. You know all about it. Okay, so there's piston ring expander coming out the drain plug. Is that bad?
That's bad.
It's still running.
Yeah, hey, got to do the finish line, didn't it?
Yeah.
Took the win.
Yeah.
That's all matters. That's all matters.
Yeah. Old man said, I wouldn't run it. It's messed up.
No, run it.
Said,
Send it. Isn't that the word?
Let's go ahead and run it.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what I said. I said I would not put that thing down the track, not one more pass. What's Jimmy do?
Send it.
Well, I'm just thinking it's probably been broke for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm too ignorant to know it. Right? And they get there like, oh, this thing's tired, bro. I don't know, man. It's running.
Wait till you see the distributor. It was pressurizing the crankcase so bad, it was shoving oil up the distributor bushing.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
What did you bring? Why didn't you bring some warm weather?
I wish I could have. That's Jimmy Dale's thing. He's supposed to bring it from Texas.
Yeah, you had to buy clothes on the way up?
No, I'm not. It looks a lot cooler in the tank.
So what's your plan, Uncle Bob?
I think we ought to hit it hard tomorrow.
So me and Jimmy Dale come up here tomorrow, and I'll do the same thing we did the other day on my other stuff.
Right.
I'll start taking it apart. We'll start running parts through the parts cleaning tank, and we'll see how bad the damage is once we get the heads off.
Yep, and that'll allow you guys to film it,
Yeah.
and you guys can handle it.
Sound like a plan?
So, yeah, I have no idea what we're doing, but I'm in.
We left Bob's and drove back to my place to see how Kenny Powers had been doing working on Magic Johnson.
Damn, they got the seat off the Grom. They got the seat off the Grom.
Why would they do that, Jimmy?
Probably put a battery in it.
What?
Damn, these guys are about that live.
Hey, what'd I tell you before we pulled in the driveway?
That bitch is gonna be slicker than out shit by the time we walk in there.
Bet. Oh my God.
Damn, pretty clean. Damn.
Dude.
Damn. It ain't never been that clean. Not since I owned it.
Kenny freaking Powers. Dude.
Douche nozzle working great.
Oh my God. This thing's freaking spotless, man. Old Kenny Powers must have got into my Jack's wax stuff over there. Come on.
Smells like you did. Smells like you did, dude. You even cleaned the little wing up. Hey, speaking of little wings,
Right here.
what are they? Little wings are buy one, get one free until I leave the old man. So you got, how many days am I here?
I don't know.
A few days.
It
You got a
depends.
few days. You got a few days to go get your little wing. They're buy one, get one free on jimmydaleracing.com. Tell them about the giveaway.
What giveaway?
Yeah, here.
Oh my God.
Now you tell them about the giveaway.
What giveaway?
Where you get to drive Magic Johnson.
I don't know about that. I think you're
If you buy, you don't like this idea?
No, I like it, but I think you're nuts. You don't know who's
Well, I may be nuts. We don't know. Have any idea. If you go to jimmydaleracing.com and you buy any t-shirt, you're entered in a chance to drive Magic Johnson. Yeah, we're gonna put the motor back in it, but once we put the motor back in it, you'll get to drive this car, like this exact car.
Feel the pain.
Whew. I ain't never felt owl shit, but I think this is what owl shit feels like. Yeah, we're making good progress.
That's at Hawaii.
For the first day here, I think we're doing pretty good. I got here, what, 9:30?
Yeah.
Motors out,
Cars detailed.
cars detailed, motors at McVeigh's,
I've
right?
already checked out pistons, connecting rods,
Yeah.
wrist pins, rings.
Yeah. Talked about a converter.
Yeah, talked about converter.
What else?
Talked to Uncle Terry about a camshaft, but we
Talked
think maybe
to-
the camshaft's gonna be okay.
Yeah, we haven't decided on a camshaft. Got some other.
Oh, and
Uncle
the Grom.
Bucka, what do you think about the
And the Grom.
camshaft? He said if it's a Chevrolet, it's fine. He says he's all about Fords as long as they're Chevy shook.
Check it out, dude.
Damn, that is awesome.
So Tuesday morning, Jimmy and I reported to Uncle Bob's shop bright and early to get started tearing his engine down and assessing the damage. Jimmy went ahead and pulled the valve covers off, and then we both worked on taking the rocker arms off and the rocker arm stands. The valve train components went in the hot tank while we started working on pulling the cylinder heads off. I pulled the stall adapters off the cylinder heads first, and then it was time to pull the cylinder heads off the block after carefully removing all the nuts and washers. After we had the heads pulled off, it was evident what had happened. The top ring on number 6 piston had butted together and broke the top of the piston off. At this point, it was time to start pulling the short block apart, but first, Bob wanted to check to see how square the block was and check piston to deck height on all 4 corners. We found that the block was off square by 15 thousandths of an inch. Bob went ahead and started pulling the cylinder heads apart to check the installed height and check valve spring pressures to see if we had a problem there. The valve springs on Jimmy's heads were shot, which could be the reason why it didn't want to turn any RPM, but we also wanted to check and see where the cam had been degreed in at. Up next, LT starts disassembling the cylinder heads and running them through the bead blaster to get them cleaned up and prepped for a new valve job. We also found at least one bent intake valve, and of course what was left of number 6 piston. Jimmy went ahead and finished disassembling the short block, and it was a relief to find that all the rod and main bearings still looked like the day they were new. The forged steel 4-inch stroke crank in Jimmy's engine was actually a scat crank, and the connecting rods were Eagle units with Eagle ARP fasteners. The connecting rods seem to be reusable, but we won't know more until the pistons are removed and the wrist pin bushings are checked tomorrow. The main thing for today is we've got everything apart, all the parts cleaned, and all the problem areas identified so that we can move forward with machining processes such as boring and honing the block, polishing the crankshaft, and fitting the pistons to the connecting rods, as well as fresh set of valve springs and a valve job. All right, gentlemen, where are we for the day? Block's going on the boring bar in the morning. Crank looks okay. Might put a new set of rods in. We're going to determine that tomorrow morning after we start pulling pistons off and checking the wrist pin bushings, right?
Depends on how well the coonskin hat sells. No, we started today. We had a whole motor this morning, and now we got a bunch of parts.
And I think 99% of them are clean. Like, the only thing that hasn't been through the hot tank yet is this basket right here.
Everything's clean.
You slipped up, LT.
Hey, it's hard to get all your work done when you show up at lunchtime.
So that brings us to Tuesday. Billy and Rob are working in the shop on the Nova putting an AccuSump on, while Jimmy tries to get caught up getting all his shipping done.
What's up, folks?
What do you got done here?
We connected a debit card to the shipping thing. This is part of having a website. You got to figure out how to ship the things that you sell.
He has figured out how to print and ship, and we're getting these orders out.
Yeah,
finally?
So Mike Ferguson, if you're watching this, you got your 2 shirts. And look, we're putting the labels.
We don't have to handwrite them. We're going to print them.
Oh, thank God, because this morning Vicky got up. She goes, I'm going to have to handwrite 300 labels.
I think we only did 4, so don't worry. But at least I told y'all I would start on them.
So if you got a handwritten label, you were one of the 4. You got a rare package.
Yes, those were. We took them and shipped them today.
Oh my God, dude, these guys are insane, y'all. I can't even think about something. They just do it right out from underneath.
That's right.
Taking something to the post office, they do that. Bucko puts a fucking battery in the Grom. Done.
Kenny,
He put a battery in the Grom?
Yeah, the Grom starts right up.
Now, the Grom battery replacement fiasco actually started 2 days ago when Buckwheat went down to Mark's to get a battery for it.
How long has it been in here? For like 2 years?
No, it's been a little while.
Oh, you're gonna get me thrown under the bus again, aren't
I'm gonna
you?
need to charge it up for you.
Evidently, this particular battery isn't a hot seller, and it's been sitting around a while.
Well, hey, I gotta get going. I ain't got time for your dead battery sales.
Well, I want to make sure you have a 100% fully charged battery.
Mark was determined not to let that battery leave the shop until he knew it was 100%. So the boys came back the next day to pick it up.
Dead battery salesman.
No, it was partially discharged.
Did you even charge it?
Yes, I charged it. It's 100%.
Mark knows damn well if that battery isn't perfect, Jeremy will throw him under the bus.
Starts like it's hot.
So with the Grom battery replaced, we finished off the day with a trip down to Texas Roadhouse to get some dinner. Jimmy Dale, what are you doing?
Campaign work.
Campaign work.
Yeah, you know, it's good enough for Jimmy, it's good enough for you. You like that?
Yeah.
I don't know where all this Jimmy Dale for president shit came up, but
Well, you're always
I reckon-
campaigning at the front gate down there at the gut.
well, I reckon I could probably do better than the guy we got now.
Yeah, probably.
Wouldn't be hard.
No, definitely not.
And then I don't want people to think that I'm, you know, a blue guy, but I just didn't want to try to sell red t-shirts. So they're blue, but we bleed red.
Okay, I got you.
Get it?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Hey, how are you going to pay for this freaking repair bill up at McVeigh's? You got money?
What size shirts do you wear?
Maybe you might have to get a job while you're here.
You think Mark's hiring?
Mark?
Yeah.
At A1?
There's thing 1, thing 2, thing 3. Yeah.
So with high hopes of getting a part-time job while he's here in Ohio, we head down to see Mark in the Malibu, and I let Jimmy drive this morning. Now, ever since Jimmy showed up here in Ohio, everywhere we've gone, we've had a few close calls where we've almost hit a buzzard the last 3 days in a row. And today, another one. You see that big-ass buzzard?
We've been almost hitting buzzards for 3 days now. The other day we went to take the motor to Mark, we almost hit a buzzard. And then I think yesterday we almost hit a buzzard again, and now a third buzzard. Now, Ohio's got some buzzard problems.
Thankfully, after our third close encounter with a buzzard, the rest of the trip down to Mark's went pretty smooth. But there was one little temptation Jimmy just couldn't resist. He just had to make his presence known when we pulled in the parking lot and parked the car. I guess Jimmy just wanted to make a good first impression. I don't know if that worked.
He needs a job to pay off his machine shop bill.
Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3.
Yeah, well, there you go.
At first, things were going good. Mark introduced him to all his potential co-workers, and things were looking up. Mark even had his official work clothes set out for him, ready to go.
Professional like a whistle.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, Jimmy failed his background check. Mark's insurance just won't be able to cover Jimmy with his current driving record. However, Jimmy still needs some oil.
He needs 8 quarts.
That's 8 quarts. I thought we only put 5.5.
No!
Yeah,
You only
it's
put-
got 5.5.
No.
Is that why it beat up?
Probably.
So even though Jimmy struck out with a new job at A1 this week, he still got to meet everybody and made a few new friends, and got to find out what the A1 experience is all about.
Hey, if you guys are in Ohio, I don't care what part of Ohio, Ohio's pretty small. You guys need to come down here to A1 Auto Parts, see my boy Mark. I was able to get an oil change, oil filter, and a battery for the Grom for $100. You don't find that, all right? Quality, service, prestigiousness, entrepreneurship. It's the things that you get at A1, you know? Yeah.
By the time we got done at Mark's, Jimmy and I were getting pretty hungry, so we drove into Pataskala to get some Jersey Mike's.
Well, for serious, this is a cool-ass opportunity, and I appreciate all you Jimmy Dalers for watching this, and I appreciate the old man for this opportunity. Look at that grumpy sumbitch. Grumpy sumbitch.
Me and Jimmy rode back to the house in air-conditioned comfort in the Malibu, and thankfully we were just late enough to miss Paige the Deuce dropping her load in the bathroom. Jimmy spent most of the afternoon on a podcast with Wes Buck at Drag Illustrated. I, on the other hand, spent some time down in Hebron.
So there I was, as Jimmy Dale would say, out for a little stroll in my Malibu, ran through the car wash and dried the car off real nice. Pull out for the car wash and I get some that decides to drive around me real fast and get in front of me and hit the brakes and spray my car with washer fluid after he just watched me pull out of the car wash because he was in a hell of a hurry, I guess. He was speeding. Had plenty of room for me to pull out, plenty of room for him to let me over, a lot of traffic, rush hour. I let it go. I let that go. A slight confrontation, but I let it go. I go to the gas station, I fill up the Malibu with fuel, and I'm headed back to the house. I'm like, we're gonna have a good day. No. Today, on Bill Spins the Wheel of Death, we get alternator pulley leaves the chat for no reason. Just random, just driving up the street, cruising up the street, 35 miles an hour. Alternator belt comes off, alternator pulley falls off the alternator, and here we are. It was exactly 5 minutes till quitting time when I called Mark, pleading my case for help. Marco,
Yes.
thank you for coming to my aid.
Hey, anytime. This is after hours, right?
Right, I'm on double time now,
you're
right?
This is double time.
Thankfully, Mark had another new alternator in stock at the store and brought it up to me.
It would be a lot worse if you didn't show up to help me.
Well, that's what I'm here for, William.
Success. Does this make you I'm an honorary member of the pit crew?
All right, guys, welcome back to the shop. It's been a rough day, for me anyway. Jimmy Dale, on the other hand, had the day of his life.
I had a great day.
Yeah, he's on the West Buck podcast,
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I watched most of it
Yeah.
while I was,
Waiting on Mark.
broke down.
Shout out to Mark. That was cool.
Yeah, it was like,
That's the man.
when I picked up my phone to dial his number, it was literally 5:54 or 5:56.
Get real.
4
It wouldn't have
minutes.
mattered if it was 8:56, he would have came and got you.
So, shout out to Mark for bringing me another new alternator. I don't have any idea why the nut and the
the pulley fell off. I have no idea. But I've got other problems. So me and Junior went out and did a little grudge race tonight. Me in the Malibu and Billy in that silver Mustang, my silver Mustang, the one we're giving away. Let's just say it didn't go well for me. Unfortunately, the Malibu makes a little bit more power now than it has previously. And the last time I had it out on the street on a radial, I could put it down fairly easy. It wasn't a big deal. Well, tonight it was a big deal. There's absolutely no way, on motor even, I was going anywhere in that thing flat-footing it. I even tried to roll it out gently. No, not even, no, it's not going to happen. So anyway, the problem is, well, one, I lost, and I lost a bet too, which you'll see that probably on Billy's channel. The other problem is when I went into high gear, I don't really have high gear like I should. It wasn't good. So evidently the last pass I made down at XRP on 2 kits did in the 700 R4 high gear clutches and probably the band and the drum. So thankfully I have a new transmission up at Vickers and it's ready to go. I just got to go get it back here and get it put in. And it looks like the weekend may be a wash anyway. I don't know. If anything, we may go to Cincy Street Nights on Friday, depending on the weather. Right, Jimmy? Yeah, we're looking at Cincy Street Nights. Jason Terrell and the guys from 10 Soldiers put that deal on. Fantastic people. There's no place else I'd rather be this Friday. I promise you that. And I am going to be there, weather permitting, as long as we get this transmission swapped out, which shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I think we got that. No, so... I'm thinking that maybe tomorrow, me and Jimmy Dale, you want to go to Vickers with me?
Yeah.
All right.
What else am I going to do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we didn't go to see Uncle Bob today. I did text him today, and he said it was a good day, but he seemed like he was pretty tired, and I wasn't going to bother him. I assumed that that's good news. If it was bad news, he would have told me, and he didn't tell me any bad news.
And
so
Shaft doesn't go out until Friday.
Oh yeah, shout out to Nolan Jamora at Iski, right? Yeah. So Nolan, I messaged Nolan immediately when we started taking Jimmy's engine apart because we checked the valve springs and the valve springs were definitely shot. We also checked to see if the cam was degreed in properly, which it was per the cam card. The cam was installed 100% exactly where it should have been. But for whatever reason, that engine just didn't want RPM right? Correct?
Yeah, even on the dyno sheets when it was brand new,
yeah.
It didn't rev past 6,700.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, it was kind of a dud above 6,500 RPM. So
got intake from TrickFlow.
Oh yeah, and shout out to the guys at TrickFlow. I called Pee Wee up at TrickFlow. I said, hey man, we're working on this. It's going to be a 434 now. And I said, we're working on this 434 for Jimmy Dale. And this thing has a strangulation device on top of it compared to that TrickFlow intake that's on my Malibu. I said, you got another one? He said, yes. So Jimmy Dale bought a brand new TrickFlow intake from them guys up there. Thank you guys for hooking us up with a deal on that. That intake should be here, may have been here today.
It's probably sitting there.
It's probably already at Bob's. So Jimmy's going to have a new Iski cam, a new TrickFlow intake, same intake that's on my Malibu. They're badass. Dude, can you testify that that thing is a handful on motor?
Bro, y'all check out the Jimmy Dale YouTube channel because I got all the test hits.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like,
I forgot
to make a test hit, and I fall into the back seat. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready this time.
Yeah.
And then I fall into the back seat again. Yeah, it's pretty rowdy.
Dude, that Malibu, the new heads and the new intake on that Malibu, oh my God, that thing
tell
runs.
them what the game plan is. The game plan is to figure out a way to pull timing.
No. That's top secret shit.
Oh, my bad.
We don't talk about that.
We're not going to do anything. We're just going to wing it.
We're going to wing it.
You look better with that on.
I could pull it off if I had real hair like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Just Texas
It
too hot.
works.